In the depths of the cold South Atlantic Ocean arises a current that sweeps slowly north and runs up along the west coast of southern Africa. The dense cold air in the deep South Atlantic creates vast high-pressure systems that drive powerful winds along the same coastline. In summer, the winds blow from the southeast. The winds scour away the upper layer of already cold water, resulting in an upwelling of colder water from the deeper layers underneath. As a result, the water temperature along the coast drops during and after these winds, going down as low as 9 degrees. Wearing a wetsuit becomes standard for those entering the ocean. This is often accompanied by coverings for the feet and head. In winter, the high-pressure systems over the ocean move more north and bring storms. The storms are accompanied by northwesterly winds, which can be very powerful and can bring rough seas and big waves. All this makes it even more remarkable that several groups of people have emerged in Cape Town that regularly spend lengths of time in the ocean, wearing only swimming costumes or board shorts. In a small town called Melkbosstrand, there is one such group that have named themselves Cold Joy.
Betrokke is by Cold Joy.
Yes.
Vertel my 'n bietjie meer van die storie.
Ja, weet jy, die Cold Joy is eintlik baie toegewyde mense, né? Van hulle selfs in die winter. Kyk, ek stap met hierdie ou hond van my in die oggende vroeg, né? En as die see donker, jy kan nie sien waar die see is nie. Dan staan hulle voertuigies al daar, dan is hulle al in die water, né? En dan lê hulle in die winter, dan doen hulle so 'n halfuur want
The members of the group go into the sea at various times and in differing conditions. They go in the very early morning. They go into the sea in the rain. They go into the sea at sunrise. They go in when it's sunny. They go in at dusk. They go in at night. In the mist. Under the light of the full moon. When there are waves. And when there is kelp from the nearby kelp forest. Some members now even need the occasional ice bath. I think I really need to go and check out this phenomenon and find out more. So, setting up a time on the Cold Joy WhatsApp group. Having second thoughts about this already. Traveling down the main road to the beach. Okay, here is the National Sea Rescue Station. Now, left into the parking lot at the slipway.
Stay half an hour, right? No!
You got it?
11 degrees.
Yeah, the dates sometimes become woozy because it feels like we've been doing it for forever. If my memory serves me well, probably in about 2018, a patient of mine who became a household friend, and we're godparents of two of his children, came to see me for a condition that one would call electromagnetic field intolerance syndrome. So I studied at that time, two guys specifically that were experts in quantum biology, and I gave him the information. So a guy, one is Dr. Jack Cruz, and one is Wim Hof. 3-6 months after I sort of shared just this with him, he invited me to the sea and said, but look, I've got a whole new protocol. And he studied cold therapy specifically. And so at those days we started at Small Bay, and so by Onsahesi, right across it, there's deep pools in the rocks, and there's also obviously the area in front. So we used to sort of focus on the therapy side. But over time, as more people joined, we saw that 95% of people's desire was just the cold joy part. In other words, how to relate, how to be socially interactive, how to swim or body surf, or but still get all the a lot of advantages like the sun's rising, the movement, all those sort of factors. So over time, it really grew, from us initially. The winters initially cold us a lot. So initially in the winters we were maybe like 8 people, or initially like 9 people maybe or so. But as you know yourself, the group has really grown and morphed into sort of quite a large group. And I think what's amazing, I think, of a group now is that it's sort of like a tribe nearly, where you've got people that really love one another, care for one another. So a lot of people get that type of it, but with it you get all the other advantages. So the question is not just what does cold do to you.
The water.
Pretty obvious.
Okay, do it again. How cold is it?
How cold is it?
Yeah.
It was cold when we got in. It's no longer cold.
Really? You gone numb now.
Not cold.
your first time? And it's nice and cool, eh?
I'm actually really loving this, hey?
Yeah, I know.
I'm loving it. I want to do this every day. Woo! It's the best way to wake up.
Jij was een van die eerste wat Cold Joy
Ja, ek
begin het.
Keer het my gekry, toe was Gary en Helena en Peer. Daar was nog so een of twee ander gewees, maar toe ek saam met Peer begin swem en toe Leria, Monica, Louisa, Sandri, toe hulle so bygekom. Hoekom ek nog steeds dit doen?
Ja.
Dit is ongelooflik lekker. Jy ontspan die geselskap van die mense wat hier is. Dit is 'n ongelooflike groep mense wat hier saam swem en dis hoekom dit Cold Joy genoem word. Jy weet, 'n ou word nie hier toegelaat om jou laste en jou probleme goed met jou saam te bring. Hier geniet ons geniet die Here, ons geniet die natuur, ons geniet dit wat die Here vir ons gegee het om te geniet. So dis wonderlik. 'n Wonderlike ervaring. Vreeslike regte groep mense hierdie wat regtig omskiet vir mekaar word.
Maar het gee jou 'n bietjie vrede.
Geweldig. Die emosionele waarde hieraan is vir my meer belangrik as die fisiese waarde. Want jy geniet die koue water. En die koue water, jy weet, dit gee mense 'n uitdaging. Dis 'n uitdaging wat jy het. Om dit te trotseer. En as jy nou uit die water uitkom, jy jou tyd gedoen het in die water, dan voel jy goed. Het is 'n wonderlike manier om die dag te begin.
I love the ocean and the water and the movement.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Cold, but nice.
You are one of the founding members of Cold Joy. So why do you actually do this?
I want to say it's a lifesaver for me.
Okay.
No, it's absolutely cool. It helps a lot with anxiety.
Yeah.
And just tension relief for me. And also, sorry, I'm just watching the waves.
That's rough.
And it gives me energy. So for me, that's why I try it every day. It really gives me a lot of energy, lots of anxiety, massive immune boost. I haven't been sick in 3 years, that good.
Wow.
And I've actually got a bit of a health condition, and if I don't swim, then I have to take medication. And if I swim, I don't need to take medication. It's actually
That's good.
awesome. That's So for me, I like it. Everybody knows I like it. Very nice. I get very, very agitated when I don't get my swim before the day. Love it, and it's actually been, you know what, today has actually been 3 years since we started. We started, this is 2019.
Okay. Why do you go into the water?
Because it's lekker. Refreshing.
My mood. Every time when I come in, it changes my mood.
Yeah, but you're a physiotherapist. Isn't this good for your inner muscles? Like if you're trying...
Stiff joints, it's good for pain.
Yeah.
It's a good pain modulator. And it's good for the soul. And if your soul is well, your pain is well too.
Derek, why do you do cold water swimming?
For the health benefit. Vir alles wat heerlik is. Goeie geselskap, oefening, lekker mense, lekker voed. meer energie.
Ja.
Kop is helderder, minder geïrriteerd.
Ja.
Meer gezonder.
Oké.
Ja.
Lekker.
Lekker.
Jy kom amper elke dag.
Elke dag. As ek 10 dae gekom het nie, dan kan ek nie lekker funksioneer nie. It's my drug of choice.
Jy kan vir amper 1 uur inbly nou.
Ja. Snaaks, ou begin met so 10 minute en hoe langer jy dit doen, hoe langer kan jy inbly, né?
Okay.
So 2 jaar nou al.
Okay.
Heerlik.
Ja, goed.
Die groei. Want party mense kom en hulle groei nie. En natuurlik die groot ding is die body surf. Dis die lekker.
Ja, jy hou van dit, hè?
'n bietjie cardio.
We came now 3 days in a row, yeah.
Okay, and how do you find it?
Amazing.
Good?
I like it. It wakes me up.
That's true.
Yeah. And also it gets the blood moving.
Yeah. And you feel refreshed afterwards?
Yeah, very much so.
How long do you stay in for?
Depending how I feel.
Yeah.
Lekker man.
Hello.
Well, give it a bit.
What are the advantages? Neurologically, and you're a neurologist.
Yeah.
So.
And that's an important difference. So one is make a difference between cold therapy and cold joy.
Right.
You see, so advantages of so let's just focus on cold joy, what we are doing in a sense.
Yeah.
Now, what you want to do is you want to look at the combination of it. You work with the concept of hormesis. So hormesis, or the hormetic principle, means that if I give you a small dose of something that is potentially very toxic to you, and your body can exercise against that small dose, it releases within you your most highest ability to perform. What you're doing is you are trying to coordinate yourself with sunrise. So you're already getting your circadian rhythm far more synchronized. And you think of what is the highest single oxidant in your whole body. What's the highest thing you can give it? It's melatonin, but not in the pineal gland. It's melatonin in your cells by your mitochondria. So the thing that is the most healthiest for you on earth is near infrared light. I mean, there's nothing more healthier for you than to get into the near infrared light which the sun gives you at sunrise. So just to take that single thing, so now you're getting up, like in the old days you would get up somewhat synchronized to sunrise, so that's helping you. You start off your day in the, what you call, in a mode where you're not chasing, emails, you're not chasing life and worries and concerns. You're getting up into something that you enjoy. So you're waking up into joy. That's the first concept. Then you immersing yourself into the infrared, which is making the melatonin in every single mitochondria, which is the most protective single thing you can do, more than glutathione, more than vitamin E, more than anything else. So you're getting that infrared. Then you're getting earthing, which is an extremely important part, because you're ultimately you're made up of atoms, which is protons, electrons, quarks, and what you eat don't have any way to get into the mitochondria, which is your powerhouse. It's got no ability. It's only electron transporters. So electron spin dictates a massive amount of your body. So your body is a plasma battery. So now on the way, as you're walking to the beach, you're already earthing yourself. You're already harvesting electrons from the ground. We haven't even started with it. Then as you get to the waves, now you have to practice the hermetic principle of a part of you don't want to get cold. You don't want that reaction, but now you're overcoming it. Now, they've done a lot of studies in many illnesses. If you can overcome one thing, then it makes you far more resilient to many, many other things in your life, from the stress, etc., etc. So what people fear most is first 2 minutes, because your body gives you a shock response. But after 2 weeks of doing cold therapy, that shock response wanes, in a sense. But you still have to get yourself ready for the waves and the things, the uncertainties in the cold. So that principle is already overriding your thinking. And then you get the Schumann's resonance of the Earth, which is the electromagnetic field of your Earth, which resonates with your alpha synchronization of your brain waves. So while if you stay in a house, you've got dirty electricity. In other words, all the waves that you've got in your walls, all your waves, even underground, is electricity. But even if you do earthing on the ground here, it's not going to give you the same principle. And you're getting the ozone layer. So where the water is crashing, there's an ozone, there's a type of different oxygen layer that you're in breathing as you're going forward.
There's lots of bubbles in the water.
Bubbles in the water.
Oxygen.
100%. So there's a lot of those factors. When you see nature, that's already a massive calming. Your body's made to resonate with nature. And your body's also need to be in seasons. So you're giving yourself the season. So most people miss the seasons. If it's winter, they put on jackets. If it's summer, they adapt. But now the sea always demands of you be in season. So everything of you is being synchronized. Your body knows that day started because you're giving it cortisol by moving. So your cortisol is peaking, melatonin is dropping, and your body knows the day has started, and you're synchronizing everything with what we're doing. Then you've got obviously the movement. So most of us do push-ups before we go in, for many reasons. And you've got a movement of the water. 50% of your brain cells are related to movement, balance, coordination. 50%. So if you take all of your brain, so you often think I'm exercising my brain by doing maths, but one of the best single most exercises on earth is things where you have to balance and coordinate your whole body. So you're already in the waves coordinating yourself. Yeah. Then you've massively increased the factors of resistance training. You have to walk in the water, back against water. So you've got that coordinating thing. While if you exercise in a gym, the blue light starts negating the advantages of the exercise. So exercising in open air is far more beneficial now. So now we've got the different ranges of light, and your eyes and your whole brain is made to measure time. So now you're coordinating all of your systems. You're waking up all your hormonal releases at the exact same time. And then you've got the social setting. You've got the looking forward to a tribe, to a group of people that you really enjoy to be with. That already sort of starts your day in the right sort of pathway. Now we get to the goal. So there's much more. I'm not going to go into much more. There's far more that one can go into. So the idea of a cold is that if you look at people in Eskimo land, okay, the question is, why don't they really need carbs? I mean, the old Eskimos, how did they survive? They didn't have crops and breads and pastas and rice and vegetables, and they had nothing. How did they survive?
Meat.
Meat and blubber, fat. And I'm not sure now. They've got some seaweed in or whatever the case may be. But how did they survive? Would we survive if we now cut out all good vegetables? In a sense, that's a question. And it's an interesting thought and idea, is because of mitochondria. So a lot of people look at fuel, and they think food is your fuel, which is right, but they don't know what the engine is. So the engine of your cells, 10% of your body weight is mitochondria. 10%. In other words, you climb on a scale, you weigh 100, 10 kilogram is mitochondria, which is small organelles that are inside cells. Your brain has up to 2,000 of them, and your heart up to 5,000 of them per cell. And they make 90% of all your energy. The reason you breathe is for mitochondria. And if you, mitochondria has got, I don't want to go in detail, but they've got 5 points inside of them. If you drink arsenic, it just blocks one of those 5 points and you're dead. You know, so mitochondria is one of the essence of vitality. So mitochondria makes it's a program that brings in cell death. So if cells need to die, it's a program that cleans up cells. It gives energy to the systems inside of cells. So it's really a very basic unit. You get your mitochondrial DNA from your mother, not your father. You know, so it's a very interesting underdeveloped thing. So the concept of epigenetics, in other words, old times before it's about genes. You see, but epigenetic means I can switch on and off genes. Yeah. That's where mitochondria come in. You know, and so mitochondria works with electron spin. So we've said that there's no fat transporter to bring energy into the mitochondria. There's no carb transporter, and there's no protein transporter. So what happens to what you eat? There's only electron transport. So what you eat must become electrons. You see, and temperature temperature, if you put say a can of Coke inside a freezer, it's going to expand. You know, so temperature has got an effect inside of mitochondria, which makes its own, in a sense, water, and we can call it. Some people call it the fourth stage of water. You know, besides the flowing of water and the ice of water, because it's made inside. And mitochondria is extremely sensitive to electromagnetic fields, super sensitive. And mitochondria also releases free radicals. You know, which can cause a huge amount of damage, etc. Now, one principle of cold therapy is that you're causing the electron spin to change because you're causing an outset of the water inside of the mitochondria. So the spin effect changes. In other words, if I'm going to eat the same food outside in the sunlight versus I'm eating the same food inside my house, it's got a different effect. You see, because of the mitochondrial part of it. So one of the advantages, I'm not going to touch all of them, but there's many. One of the advantages is that you're affecting the electron spin, but it's important to harmonize where does your genes come from. You see, because your ability to do that will be far greater if your forefathers come from countries that was very cold. You see, so your adaptation part. So that's one advantage, that you change the electron spin, which then it gives you, maximizes your amount of vitality. So that's why most people going into the sea would say to you, my energy is high and peak till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or whatever the case may be. It also releases a huge amount of other feel-good hormones, which is survival hormones. You know, endorphins that you can get, and changes things like dopamine. But it remembers again the whole combination. You're moving, that's cortisol. You know, you've got sunlight, and sunlight gives you nitric oxide. It gives you melatonin, it gives you real vitamin D. So just by taking your fingers and moving like this in the water, you increase nitric oxide, because fast movements release the nitric oxide on the side of your arteries. You know, then you're also changing, your body now has to adapt, because now you're in a survival type of scenario. So your body thinks winters may be coming. Your body thinks, wow, this is really cold, and it's not adapting you to make brown fat, as an example. It's 11 to 13, give or take, average. Yeah. But the longer you stay, an example, in 11, it'll start giving you the same sort of core going down benefits if you stay short in 5.
So generally 30 minutes is enough.
Absolutely.
For that
20 to 30 minutes.
I know that
is sufficient.
Anton stays in for an hour sometimes, quite easily, but he's been going for 2 years.
Yeah. You have to listen very much to your body. So I can, generally speaking, sort of, I don't necessarily take time except if I have to get at work, whatever. So if I don't have time, if I've got enough time, I stay into my body tells me, and I think that's a very good principle. And your body becomes 10 minutes after you're out. It's the coldest time.
Yeah, that's true.
So because of your cold temperatures, so you have to sort of say just before I think it's enough, you actually have to get out. If you get an example, your circadian rhythm right, it's got a massive effect on sleep and weight control. This is an example just on that simple factor. There's no doubt that upgrading your energy house and making it more functional and giving yourself more energy will give you brain vitality, will give you body vitality, and energize your body. So the other thing that's obviously a huge topic in the time that we are is immune health. One can actually look at some of the studies of Wim Hof, where he did extensive studies on immune health and cold water and cold therapy. So I think from my side, since I've done, and that's the sort of the confession of most people of the group, since one sort of engaged in the whole package, and especially the cold water part, then one's whole immune system has definitely improved. And that's a massive advantage. And you can start off by going to the sea, improve your sleep. And if you one night of not sleeping throws out your killer cells 70%. You do sinus cleanses, in the sea. And that sort of takes out 30 or 40% of bad guy things. The cold water itself, Wim Hof has done a lot of studies how it improves your your immune system as well. So I think in my view, it's one of the best single thing that you can do even during a pandemic, especially during a pandemic, is to do cold joy in my view.